Hey everybody, we're going to turn this into a sweet dulce de leche. This is a really simple recipe and I will show you how to do it with the pressure canner, and I'll also tell you an easier way that you might be able to do it, but I couldn't do that in my kitchen since we're off grid. So I used half pint jars, the jelly jars is what other people call them, and you just open up cans of sweetened condensed milk and fill your jars. You do want to make sure that you leave about a ½ inch to an inch of head space at the top of your jar. So go ahead and empty that aluminum can as much as you can. It's really sticky, but just try not to make a mess. And so I was able to fit about one can into each jar. Then you want to debubble it and wipe your rims with a clean wet towel and just water. You don't need to use vinegar to clean your rims. And go ahead and get your lids on and your rings. And again, don't over tighten your rings when you're going to can. You just want them to be finger tight. If that one would go on. All right. Now we're going to put them into the canner. And like I said, I pressure can these. So because I didn't heat up the sweetened condensed milk, my jars were cold, the milk was cold, it's going to go into my canner cold. And I'm going to make sure I put cold water. So that's something that's really important to remember. If you're doing it with hot food, then you want your water in your canner to be hot. Everything should be the same temperature, the jars, the food, and the canner. With pressure canning, you don't need to fill with too much water. So I just filled this one to fill about halfway up with the jars. And your pressure canner should have a manual to tell you specifically how much water it requires. Okay, we're going to get the lid on. Alright, I had a little bit of trouble getting my lid on, but then it finally went. And once you get that steam coming out, remember you set a timer for 10 minutes before you put your weight on. Get your weight on, and I did these for 13 minutes at 10 pounds of pressure. And you start counting your 13 minutes once your weight starts to jiggle and it has reached that 10 pounds of pressure. And then you turn it off and you wait for the pressure to all release, for that pressure gauge to get back down to 0. And then open it. And always open across from each other. Same when you're putting the lid on. Always tighten each knob across from each other. And let me get my oven mitt. There's Jacob saying hi. And this lid can be such a pain sometimes. I think that was Elizabeth waving. It is hot, and I need to oil it again. Okay, here's what they look like right out of the canner. So see, now it's nice and brown. It's a nice caramel sauce. And this is so good. If you need it, I love to use it just for the kids' snack, to have them dip apples in it. It's super easy to make, and it makes a simple snack like apples that much more fun. So we got them all out, and you can see they're still hot inside. They're still bubbling away. And I got them cooled off, and I'm going to open one to show you guys. Oh, I wish you could hear that snap, that popping sound. That was a perfect seal on that. And I love the sound it makes when you have a jar that's perfectly sealed and then it just pop right open. Okay, I couldn't find a spoon, so I got a fork. And so you can see it's not overly done. If you do overdo it, it gets kind of like rubbery. This is still kind of smooth, which is good. It's perfect for dipping. You can put it on top of a cake or brownies or on top of ice cream. Like I said, we eat it with apples a lot. There's some people in the world that call this a slut sauce because it goes good with everything. We just call it dulce de leche, which is like caramel sauce. And it's super easy to make. The kids loved it. Now, if you wanted to do this an easier way, you can do it in a crock pot. And all you do is you take those jars once you filled them, put them in your crock pot, cover it with water, put your lid on, and cook it either on low for 8 hours or on high for 4 hours. You'll end up with the same smooth consistency that I got with the pressure canner. All right, thanks so much for watching, guys.